Okay, it seems like I am live. I hope everyone can see what's going on my screen since I have taken notice that most of you guys weren't able to see my screen, my full screen. So let's see if everything's correct here, and looks like everything's correct on my end. All right, so let's start off our CFO technical analysis night. Let's wait for more people to join in here. Okay. Oh, 3 people are watching now. Awesome. Whew. I'm excited to do this technical analysis night for you all, as always. If I ever sound a little bit, not energetic, just know that I'm a little bit tired from doing a lot of work, and then from coming back from the gym, and all that shenanigans. And if you guys have noticed, I am only allowing chat to subscribers of the channel here, so it's only one click away. All you guys need to do is click one time to the subscribe button, and you guys will be able to chat. And I'll be, willing to hear from you guys. All right. Okay. Oh, it seems like I got a message from Morris. I believe he's one of my subscribers here, and he said, UPS looks very interesting. Okay. So UPS, all right, that'll be the first thing that we'll be looking at then. Hello, Joel. All right, let's make an announcement here on my Discord. That's a playback there. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any, there's 4 people watching now. So if anyone has any recommendations, please put them in chat. I will be starting out with UPS first, as recommended by Morris. I think his Instagram handle is InTheMoneyMorris, if I remember, because he's been coming out to the lives very, very often. And I truly appreciate you, Morris, for always joining my lives. It's great to see that there's familiar faces who come in, so dedicated and willing to take in all the value that I've been giving to everyone. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate every single one of you who's been coming to my lives, even on Instagram and now transferring over to YouTube. So I really thank you guys. It really means the world to me. Okay, so I think, okay, might be a little bit of lag here, but I think we have a little bit more than 4 people watching now. All right, so let's go ahead and look over UPS as recommended by Morris. Okay, so UPS is one of those names that I track alongside with FDX. Okay, and FedEx and UPS are both delivery companies, right? And they've absolutely benefited from the amount of online orders that people were ordering because of the fact of this pandemic. Okay, people didn't want to go out anymore. They're looking to buy off of internet brands, all these different internet brands, right? Whether it be clothes, cooking, hardware, or even software, things like that. And no one wanted to go outside because they feared the COVID-19 virus. And they had every right to. COVID-19 is a very, very scary virus. It kills people very easily, but now we have ways to combat it. We have treatments, COVID-19 treatments like the Regeneron's COVID cocktail that was used in previous President Trump's treatment. We have our vaccines. So, with that in mind, UPS is still a major player. So, it's FedEx and UPS still a major player right now. And I think it is because the world is still on edge. Okay, you guys can debate on and off if you think the pandemic is over or not, or we still need to have lockdowns or not, right? Well, for me, I don't really care. I am just going to be looking at the news, whatever news comes out from the governments and economic news, and see how these companies are going to be affected by whatever happens in the near-term future due to current news. All right, so with FedEx and UPS, I personally think they're still going to be a prominent player for the rest of the year, as it's been solidified that these internet brands and internet companies are a center of our lives now. There's probably, I don't know, more than half of Americans, maybe, I don't know the statistics, but I would guess or assume that at least half of Americans have used the internet to buy things and to get things delivered to their front door. And so UPS and FedEx have a major role in making sure and ensuring that these packages arrive at your front door. So, it's amazing that UPS and FedEx have always been looked upon as an old, conventional company, but now they're being looked upon as a very vital type of, delivery company that everyone kind of depends on in order to have their orders come on time. And so I think this trend is going to continue. So UPS and FedEx are just the byproducts of this e-commerce boom that's been absolutely bursting from the top into the blue skies here, and UPS and FedEx are going to continue to really benefit from that. So right now, UPS. Okay, let's do some quick technical analysis. So I apologize if my computer seems like it's a little bit lagging here because I am using a 2017 MacBook here. I will be upgrading soon into the new MacBooks. I believe with their new chips, Apple's new chips that they're manufacturing themselves. Okay. And even with news like that, with Apple using their own chips, you should also kind of look into who was the actual major chip supplier for Apple. And I've actually provided that information and a lot more in-depth research to my CFO Stream and Watch subscribers. And so, that's the type of analysis that I do. So for people who don't have the time to really dig in deep, okay. It's extremely vital to everyone to do their research. But if you don't have the time, the CFO Stream and Watch is here for you. Okay. But I will give you guys the answer. Is Taiwan Semiconductors, TSM. They provide chips for most of the iPhones. They are the supplier, chip supplier, major chip supplier for Apple. Okay, so if Apple starts making chips for on their own completely, all right, and that may even be the trend for future tech companies in months or years down the line, where they start to make and manufacture their own chips in their own factories, and so it might change the game for these chip names, these semiconductor chip names. Right, so that's something to think about as well. And that's kind of how you guys should be thinking in terms of investing and even trading, because price will reflect people's perceptions, whether it be the current time, in the past, or in the future. Right, that's why trading can be so hard, because you need to have a combination of every information as much as you can, and trying to gauge what this information is telling you. Okay. Hey, Morris, thank you so much. It's great to always see you coming in and providing these names for me to look over, because you're literally giving me content to for me to be able to do this live. All right, so thank you so much. and I'm glad that I'm giving you a lot of value and a lot of good content here, and that's what I'm here to do, and ultimately transfer my skills over to everyone. All right. So with UPS, all right, I've been talking, I've been doing my technical analysis here, what I've been seeing, but it looks like, okay, from what I'm seeing so far, we are now forming and holding a previous gap up here, okay, and this is bullish activity here for me. If we kind of break below, okay, and kind of keep the low of this gap up, okay, that's a really bullish activity. This is what we also saw in Snapchat. All right, I went over that I think my previous live on Monday, and Snapchat also had the same kind of situation going on where the price kind of dipped below this gap up candlestick's low of the day, but it came right back up. And so with this one, we're kind of using this low of the day as a double bottom here. And I like the way how it bounced, and now we're forming our own little tiny range here. Okay, a tight little range. We have a nice area of support around 189.50-ish, which is also a whole number. And we have two major resistances around 194-ish, and then a major resistance that's in the gap here around, I would say around 197 to 198 broadly. Because there's not really a set resistance yet, but it seems like we're having resistance around 198 level. And I expect a lot of resistance actually as you try to attempt to kind of come back in to this gap down here. All right, as we're kind of going into this gap to try to fill it in, because there's a lot of selling going on here, right? Around above 200, what I would say would have a lot of sellers, right? Why would I say 200? Because the 50 SMA is also here as well, and it's just sitting here. It's not turning downward or upwards. Okay, so welcome to all the people who came in right now. You guys just missed a sludge of amount of information that I just gave to everyone. So if you guys want to come back to the live that will be posted right after the live is finished, please make sure to do so because I did give out some valuable information. Okay, so with UPS here. I think so far, with the 10 and 21 has caught up, right? Since they made this big, impulsive move downward, and now they're attempting to, trying to support the price upwards to kind of start filling in the gap. Now, like I said, overall, this seems very bullish, right? Because of the fact that we're all upholding this gap up, and why is it bullish? Because below this gap is a bunch of buyers. Okay, and if we're able to uphold this gap up here, this previous gap up, then it's telling us that there's a lot more buyers than sellers, right? And so if there's a lot more buyers than sellers, then we are able to overwhelm and overcome this wall of sellers up here, okay, in this gap down area, right, from around 200 to around 207 to 208, okay. So those are kind of the levels there, is what I would say here. But let me kind of go deeper in to the 2-hour time frame because it looks like we might be having some type of a cup and handle formation here. Yeah, I mean this one, after earnings reaction like this, right? I don't know what the earnings was. I did not look over UPS earnings, but it seemed like they beat earnings, but maybe they had their guidance and their outlook did not look too good, or maybe they just kept guidance and outlook similar, which is sometimes not looked as a good thing to Wall Street. So that might have been a reason why it reacted negatively. Or UPS is just expecting less volume of orders that they need to deliver because people are not, people are not really starting to order things online anymore. They're just doing the regular pre-pandemic orders, right? That's basically what I saw, Morris. Yeah, that's good. I mean, this kind of a, it's kind of a messy cup and handle, but you know what? Chart patterns can't always be perfect. So this is essentially a cup and handle. But so far, I'm seeing a lot of a break on the 2-hour time frames, 50 SMA here to the downside, and that's something that I don't really like to see. I mean, even on the R side, it seems like the R side looks pretty good. I mean, this is what I expected. We're kind of chopping around a relatively strong level. And even without RSI, you should be able to tell this because the price is chopping around these SMAs, and it's holding a nice tight price range here. It's relatively strong and it's not being affected by the overall markets as well. Okay, so it's kind of doing its own thing, right? And this tells me that there is going to be some type of a bigger move because of the fact that we're getting lower volume and the price is getting tighter. Okay, so that's something that you guys should always remember, and kind of if you want to write that down, write that down. I've been giving a lot of good pointers here lately. Well, I've been since I first started my life here, just to make sure that you guys are kind of up to speed with at the very least, the basics here of technical analysis, right? But looks like, let's see, yeah, I mean, if you come back down, and expect, because usually, if I go back to the daily time frame, usually when we, gap down and then we start forming a nice gap down base here, I expect a lot more movement on the sideways pattern here, and that's the reason why I say this is bullish, because first reason, we're holding this gap up, a previous gap up, and the second reason, we're starting to form a tight range right away after this gap down. And so this tells me that, even if it's bullish, I still need to see a little bit more candlesticks formation here and see where the price is going to go. So we need a little bit more time out. At the very least, I would say 1.5 to 2 weeks of candlestick formation here. But if we're able to break out of this weirdly shaped cup and handle formation, back towards, let's say, if we break out tomorrow, let's say, above 194, we should see a potential price target to around 197 to 198. And we can revisit this 198.20-ish, or even 198.50, and we checked off of it again, kind of solidifying that we have a nice area of resistance around 198.50-ish. Okay, so let me kind of make this up higher so you guys can actually see the number on the side here, on this y-axis here on the right side. So with DPS, that's kind of what I'm seeing. Morris, I hope you kind of understood all of that. I know I'm pretty sure you did, and make sure you kind of follow the levels that I've drawn for you here. But yeah, that's kind of it for UPS. I'm still relatively overall bullish on the company itself. In the weekly time frame, it's showing some good strength here still. But whatever goes higher will go much higher. Okay, just remember that, right? I mean, we've been going up higher and higher after this huge base breakout. Around I would say 120. Okay, around 120. Okay, and ever since then we've been going up and higher and higher and higher. And it seems like we can kind of make a little bit more of a base and allow the weekly. Okay, let me kind of go in closer here. I know you guys might have not seen this here, but this daily, not daily, the weekly 50 SMA is catching up once again. Okay, but this time things are a little bit changing here because the 50 SMA in the weekly time frame, instead of going upwards like this, whenever we've had this initial impulsive run up and then a consolidation phase here, as the 50 SMA kept on going up and up, we're seeing a little bit of a curvature. Okay, we're starting to see a rounding of this 50 SMA. So this could mean that we can start rounding like this and start going lower, which means price will start to go lower as well. Okay, so I don't know if we're going to retrace all the way back down and eventually maybe even head back towards 179 to 180. But on the weekly time frame, if we do that, that's great, because that means the price can eventually touch the weekly 50 SMA again, which is also on the weekly time frame. If the price ever hits, so this is something you guys should write down as well. On the weekly time frame, if the price hits the 50 SMA, that's a very hard area of support, and that could also be a very good buy point. Okay, the weekly 50 SMA. All right, and so the weekly 50 SMA should also be where the 200 SMA should be on the daily time frame as well. And you guys can tell, right? I mean, it kind of coincides here. And this is what I'm saying. Some people are ask me, how did you know that, right? How do you know that these estimates are kind of coinciding with each other with these different time frames? Because again, I'm very used to what I'm using personally, and at some point, technical-wise, things are going to become very, very subjective. It's going to all depend on what you are comfortable with, what you want to use, right? And what you are wanting to see, depending on your trading personality, trading style, and trading edge. I go much more deeper into this and how you're able to find this on my one-on-one mentorships and a little bit in my 4 weeks program as well. Okay, so if you guys are ever interested in any of those programs, please contact me and or go to my website to look for more information. And I highly suggest that you guys look at my website, chartsfocus1.com. It's in the description down below as well, to view it in your desktop. Okay, it is optimized for mobile, but I highly recommend you guys to look at it on your desktop because I have a lot of information that I wanted to share with you guys, so I put it on the website. And so I know it's going to be a lot more easier and more optimized for you guys to read all the information I have on my website on a desktop screen. Okay, so Joel said Microsoft, okay, MSFT. Alright, so you guys know already, Microsoft has been on an insane run after, months and months of just sideways action in 2020. And Microsoft is always known to have a wide range of sideways action and nothing really happening. But once we broke out of this huge range that we made, okay, for more than, I would say, 8 months, 6 months, 6 to 8 months, as I would say, we've just been on a complete big grind here, okay? And like I said, I believe I went over Microsoft around 1 to 2 lives ago. Seems like we're starting to kind of form, not really form a chart pattern, but at the very least, kind of uphold this uptrend pattern, okay? Because this big impulse move that we had here, I know a lot of people made money on this this back-to-back 2-day move here. We are overbought. Well, there we go. I just opened up RSI, and we are overbought. And I don't really need to see the RSI at this point, but I'm showing to you guys for confirmation. But Microsoft here, I would expect at the very least another move downwards towards the 21 SMA again, in order for us to see another move higher. And now I would expect that to happen around 295-ish. Okay, how do I know? Well, because I know how my SMAs work and how they are formed and how they behave, depending on what type of trend the price is in. And so we're in an uptrend. I'm going to expect a pullback back to around 295-ish. But here's the thing: if we're able to hold this critical $300 whole number level here, okay, you guys can also see on our time frame, we actually held today actually the $300 level. The low of the day today was 300.42. Okay, I'm pretty sure that should be yes. Okay, and so as we're holding this $300 level, we might just allow these the momentum 10 and 21 SMAs to catch up, right? And so it's plausible for me to think, and for you guys to think as well, that 300 level will be a nice area for buyers, especially on the 2-hour time frame, as the 21 is now acting as an area of support. Morris just told me that 293 is a huge demand zone, and I can clearly see that on here, right? You guys can, I don't know if you guys can see it, but 293 to around 295 is also an area of a lot of buyers here, and that's exactly where this breakout happened as well, above 295, right? And so 293 to 295 will be a nice area to buy in if the price goes back down there. But I would expect 300 to be a huge area of new support at this all-time high levels. And if it doesn't, well, if it does, it doesn't, right? And we head back down, and if you keep on breaking below 295, 293, and then eventually 291, okay, I would expect the price to kind of come back down, especially on a daily time frame, back towards the 50 SMA. And the reason why I say this is that on Thursday, tomorrow, we're going to have our Jackson Hole meeting, okay? And that's where all the important, federal, Federal Reserve and other, very important financial ministers and, representatives are going to be meeting and talking about the economy, the future economy, what awaits the economy, inflation, especially since inflation has been a major topic for the Federal Reserve, because they've been saying it's a transitionary thing for now. But depending on what they say tomorrow, what they discuss, the markets will react to it. Okay, because the market again is at all-time highs again. And this BTD, this buy the dip strategy, has been working on really well so far as well. Okay, all right. So that's kind of it for Microsoft. There's nothing really much to see. I mean, if you guys want to see the resistance here, we have a major area of resistance around 305.50 to 306, almost 306. So I would say just keep a 306 level on watch, because if you break above 306, then obviously we're going to be having new all-time highs, and potentially we can head up to 310. Okay, so that's it for Microsoft. Anyone else have any recommendations here for me to go over? If not, I will go over some of the CFO Swing Watch names that I've kind of released on my Instagram story as well. Anyone? I know there's a playback delay here between me and you guys, the viewers. Okay. Sean J, thank you for your comment. CCJ, I've heard this before. What is this? Camco Corporation? Well, let's see what it is. What industry is this in? Let's see. So far, it looks all right. It looks all right, technical wise. Okay. I kind of got a feeling about this already. I thought it was going to be somewhere in the middle. Okay. So non-energy minerals, other metals and minerals. Okay. So like I said, I believe last week as well in last week's lives. Steel, okay, and other metals are very much in basically any type of commodity, right? These actual tangible metals and other minerals and et cetera, right? Something that comes from Earth, right? Rare earth materials or whatever it may be. Okay, uranium. Okay, and so with this. With such names, I think we're gonna see more and more of people kind of putting their attention towards these type of names, especially into mining and minerals as well. Those are kind of synonymous industries there. With CCJ here, I think it's at a good spot here. We just revisited 200 SMA and had an absolutely strong bounce. I mean, I've mentioned this previously in my previous live as well. Where usually when the price kind of starts heading towards the 200 SMA, what it tends to do is it kind of breaks it to the downside, and then the very next or even right away, there's a huge snapback as buyers are like, this is a danger zone. We should not be breaking below the 200 SMA, and they quickly shift the momentum back towards the buyers, and it completely overtakes and comes back above the 200 SMA, and that's what we love to see. Okay, especially when the price is at the 200 SMA. All right, it's essential that the price kind of reacts to the 200 SMA in order to uphold its long-term uptrend. Because if it doesn't, that means its long-term uptrend is now at a warning area, a cautionary area where the uptrend may now be the very long-term uptrend may now be not holding, and it can potentially be a bearish downtrend. Now, with CCJ though. Okay, this is a nice bounce so far. Right, I mean, this is absolutely lovely here, above the 200. If you're in this, Sean, I mean, this is great. I mean, we've been up. It's been going up. It's up 11%, around 11% here in 4 days, including today, since this bounce here. And it seems like I've seen plenty of action like this. There's going to be a lot more volatile movement here. I'll show you that. We're going to come back down here, most likely around 16.50ish and maybe even 16 again, and kind of revisit the 200 SMA here to kind of retest it again as a solid area of support to kind of test the stock's strength on this uptrend here, ever since it's made this big breakout back in November to December 2020. So CCJ, there's another uranium name that I like to see. I kind of look at UUUU. There's 4 U's here. Okay, and it seems like, and they're good. I expect this already. It's going to be acting the similar way here, because well, they're both uranium names. Um, but with I did chart this back all the way back in October 2020, and I expected it to kind of run up into the end of the year, and guess what? We did. Okay, and it continued to run up and actually traded this name. Okay, on this breakout, and again at this flag breakout. But now this name is starting to kind of tread water here, as it slowly it's kind of losing steam here, as now the 200 SMA has caught up, just like CCJ, right? And CCJ kind of looks a lot better than to be honest. Quadruple U is what I would say. But CCJ just absolutely looks incredible. I just have to see more candlesticks formation here. I would love to see a pullback to 16.50 and eventually 16 again. But 16.50 should be a good area of support because it's going to be upholding this little tiny gap up that we had 3 trading days ago. Okay, so I expect some type of pullback tomorrow. As the 10 SMA kind of starts, rolling back upwards. Okay, and eventually, it may even use $17 as a new area of support soon. Okay, so CCJ looks good. I just need to see one more touch of the 200 SMA. But if you have too many touches in the 200 SMA, that just means that sellers are too much prevalent here, and that buyers are not winning, and the sellers will eventually push through to the downside, of course, the 200 SMA. Okay, so next name here, O'Brien Smith, Mrs. Smith. Thank you for that suggestion. Piton. So I was actually looking at Piton, and did they have earnings today? I think I saw an article today that Piton was having earnings. Okay, so I did see that they're having a new treadmill because they had that accident with a child, and they had to recall thousands and thousands of treadmills. It seems like they're going to launch a new treadmill. But according to TradingView, okay, so it seems like we have earnings tomorrow. Probably, I'm thinking probably after hours. And you're welcome, Sean. You're welcome. But Piton. Okay, so technical wise, everything looks very good so far. We've been reversing this downtrend here. This is what I call a TRO. Okay, but let me I made these lines here, but TradingView lately has been kind of wonking out here and kind of I don't know where my lines all went, my levels. But I did have my levels drawn here, so I'm gonna have to put them back so for all you guys to see here. And it's gonna be a little bit messy since I am focusing on and give you guys what I'm trying to look at. So let me just hastily draw these. Excuse my messy levels here that I'm drawing. Okay. Yeah. Sure, why not right here. Okay. I think we're good so far. Okay, so I was looking at Piton back in back in early July here. Okay, because we're kind of looking at a inverse head and shoulders here. If you guys can't see it, there is a left shoulder here, an inverted left shoulder, a very pointy head here, very weird one, fairly weird one here, and then our right shoulder here, inverted right shoulder. And so, some people say it was like this. I saw a chart like this for Piton, and then we broke out. All right, but I still think this shoulder kind of extends out all the way until where we hit this 50 SMA around 108, and now it's kind of invalidated at this point. But that is basically what the inverted head and shoulders pattern was. I would expect a much more larger movement to the upside, but I think Piton has had its days already here. This is an absolutely incredible move from mid-20s to all the way to the hundreds here, past 150. So this is an incredible move here, and so far we've been kind of digesting this huge move with months and months ever since this year, earlier this year, since February. We've just been going back and forth in a huge range. So if you guys can see on the weekly time frame, okay, from February, early March till now, prices really haven't gone anywhere. Okay, just ignore all these big moves that have been made by catalysts, but there really has been not much of a big movement here at all. We've been just ranging from I would say 103-ish to around 127 to 128-ish. Nothing has changed, right? But today, I guess this whole week for Piton, we've been seeing a lot of buying going in. This is the only reason why is that we've been having positive news with catalysts like today. Like I saw on an article that Peloton is looking to re-release their treadmills with a new treadmill with a lot more safety precautions and safety measures on it. And our earnings are coming up too. And so with Piton, generally I wouldn't really look at this name until after earnings. But since you guys have told me to look at Piton, let me take out my AirPods here. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can still hear me. Can you guys give me a thumbs up in the chat, the live chat here, if you guys can hear me, just to confirm. And you guys should still be able to hear me, hopefully. Okay, I think you guys can hear me here. Okay, so with Piton, thank you, O'Brien. Thank you, Morris. Looks like we're getting a lot more people here as as we're getting later into the night here. But Piton, excuse me, I gotta close my door here. Okay, so. I'm really not going to be interested in this name until earnings, and what the earnings move is, and what they really say, what the company actually says. But so far, Piton is still bearish in the fact that SMAs are still kind of, they're not coiling here, and they're kind of really close to each other, and so whatever move it makes, I'm just going to play off of earnings. But we are now kind of, we're still underneath the 200 SMA here, so overall we're bearish, but also at the very same time, you guys have to remember, we haven't moved anywhere since early March. So I'm going to expect, at the very least, Piton to either, if there's an upside move, I'm going to at least expect Piton to go back up above, 123, 125-ish, or even 130 if the news is really, really good for Piton, and maybe they beat sales and they're having a growth surge. People still buying their stuff because people don't want to go back to the gym. Or maybe the Delta variant has been, for the past maybe 2.5 months of the Delta variant being on the news, maybe it's affected their sales in a positive way, where people are now starting to buy more gym stuff again, specifically their gym equipment with their bike and the treadmill. But no one can really say what the numbers and figures are. What Piton will announce tomorrow. I won't be able to do that either because I'm not part of the company. I'm not the CFO of the company. How ironic, right? My chart focus on CFO. But if you guys are wondering if that was intentional, that was intentional. That's the reason why I chose my name as Charts Focus One here, and because I am focused on charts. And charts are number one for me. So if you guys ever wondered why I named my business here for you guys to kind of teach you guys trading here, it's called Charts Focus One. It's because of the fact that as an acronym is CFO, and I focus on charts, and charts are number one for me. Okay, so with that, Peloton, I think overall looks good so far. I just hope that there weren't earnings tomorrow so that We can potentially play this if there's a dip back down to 114. That would be a nice area to buy, as that was a previous area of resistance around the left and the right shoulders of this inverted head and shoulders, and previous times as well back in November to December 2020. But whatever the earnings may be, try not to gamble it. Do not gamble earnings. I highly recommend you guys do not, because it's always a 50-50. That's exactly gambling, just like red and black, right? So do not try that. And I have terrible luck with gambling, so that's the reason why I always stick to my strategies, my game plans, my thought process, my trade psychology, and everything else. Okay, I hope that was a little bit insightful there, but Piton, I don't really have much to say. There's much to say actually. I just have to wait until earnings come out, and that's kind of how you guys should be treating it as well. That's a very smart idea. Okay. Okay. Next one. Who's gonna show me the next one? If you guys are wondering what I'm drinking here, I'm drinking a piña agua fresca. You guys know what that is? It's a it's a Mexican drink, is what I'll say. But it's a pineapple drink. It's fresh, and it's probably it's probably the best agua frescas. This piña is very good. Roku. Okay. Oh, Brian. Thank you. You give me a lot of names here. Also, Sean said Didi. I know what that is. Very failed public listing, direct listing. But first off, let's go over Roku. Okay, so Roku was on this week's CFO Single Watch. I believe I mentioned that. But a lot of my subscribers have already played this bounce here. But Roku tends to be a very, very hard name to trade, very stubborn name as well. As all of us were expecting at the very least, since we were in oversold conditions, and we have a nice descending channel or wedge. But I would most likely say that it's a channel, to be honest. But whatever, it's the same thing here. It's descending. They're both descending. They're both bullish chart patterns. So, whatever you guys choose, just go with it. As long as you know that's a bullish chart pattern. But at the end of the day, right, it's a bullish chart pattern. But right now, I would say it's still a little bit oversold here, but it's kind of back to trying to be a little bit, relatively strong here. If I bring up there we go. Well, so if we're not exactly oversold here, like I just said, we're just trying to kind of find some type of strength here. Again, I don't need the RSI anymore. But if you guys ever wondering how I'm kind of able to kind of understand where the RSI is, just based on the price. Well, because price is the actual thing, actual metric, observable number that's allowing RSI to be formed, right? RSI depends on the price, right? So if you're able to understand how price works, understand the price behavior, understand price action, you should be able to not use technical indicators like RSI or MACD or stochastics or anything of those sorts. And just use price action. And so, a person from my previous life have asked me, how are you not able to use these lagging technical indicators, and how are you able to kind of gauge, even know what the indicator is potentially saying or telling me without even me actually looking at it, right? And that's the reason why. Okay, so now Roku, it seems like it's at the end of the day here, I would say Roku still is bearish. Once this, I don't know if there's going to be some type of positive catalyst where the price will make a jump, allowing the 21 SMA to catch up again. But usually in these scenarios where we're kind of hanging around the 200 SMA like this, it tends to be a very bad sign. Okay, especially in the daily time frame. We're not seeing that immediate jump that we just had, that we just saw off of CCJ, a stock recommendation by Sean here. And you, okay, quadruple U, okay. where they both kind of flushed below the 200 SMA and then had an absolute monster momentum back up above the 200 SMA, which tells me that there's a lot of buyers. But in this case, we were just chopping around, allowing both the 10 and 21 SMAs, kind of momentum SMAs, move downward and kind of come back and catch up to the price here. It's telling me that sellers are still more prominent here, and momentum can still push to the downside here. And so what can happen here, what I'm going to be, my kind of technical analysis prediction is what I would say here, is that Roku is going to kind of stay within a low tight range here, and as it does that, this kind of a low tiny volatile, micro volatility range here, the strength, all right, is going to come back, except not in a bullish way. All right, it's just going to garner strength here, and I would expect the RSI to come back towards the 40s to 45 ranges here. All right, or just stay around 40s. Okay, and that doesn't mean it's oversold now, right, guys? Because RSI has to be around 30 and below to be oversold. So that could mean sellers are just waiting and waiting to trigger a short position for another big move downward. And if we do, I would expect Roku to come back down to around 325, which is another huge level for Roku. Okay, so watch and wait for what Roku will do, because now we're out of this descending channel or wedge, whatever you guys might want to call it, and we're now, we kind of negated this bullish chart pattern because we didn't break out in a bullish way at all, and we're not in an oversold condition at all either. So we might just screw around everyone here. So it's going to trap a lot of buyers in here and force them to sell as the price keeps on going up and down with little micro volatility until the 21 SMA crosses below the 200 SMA and then catches up with the price, and the price will reject off the 21 SMA and make sellers push the price even lower. Okay, so if we push lower, we need supports of 340 to around 346.50ish to break to the downside, and eventually give leeway for sellers to push the price lower until we have a price hit around 325. Okay, and my last final thought for Roku, and I told this to my CFO 31 subscribers on the newsletter earlier this Sunday, that I am going to expect Roku, and I want Roku to be around below 300, around 270 to I would say 290ish. Okay, that's that's kind of a fair value for Roku here, and that would be a lot more attractive price than where its current price is at for a long-term position. And also, you guys can also tell why I said that too, because Roku here, all right, has a solid area of support around 270-ish, 270-ish to around 290. Okay, and so if we're able to come back down here, I would say buy this name. It looks great. Roku has been a very strong name. So do your own due diligence here. But I would believe I have done most of the due diligence here for you guys on a technical level here. So yeah. Okay, so that's it for Roku. Let's look at DD. Okay, so DD is it's a ride-sharing app, I believe, of China, if I'm not mistaken. And Uber has a significant stake on it as well, if I'm not mistaken as well, on that. But whatever it may be, the news. It seems like here we're not oversold anymore. Well, maybe we're close to 30s here, just based on the price. And well, there we go. We're not oversold anymore. So this is exactly what could happen here. To be honest, with Roku, this is a perfect example actually, back to back. Okay. Where the RSI just shows that it may look like the RSI is really strong, and so the price can continue upwards, and it might even confuse you, and that's how it traps buyers in, which is why I highly recommend you guys to not rely on these lagging technical indicators. Okay, so DD here, DIDI. This looks like a very, very bad stock to be in right now. Okay, sure, you may trade the 1 to 2 or 3 pops to the upside, but I would expect this name to go lower. Okay, why? Why? Because the trend has been going lower, right? I mean, there's no other reason here for me to do anything. And also, like on a 2-hour time frame, all right, all these big volume bars here, you guys can see right here. The biggest volume bars are mostly all what? Red. Okay, all the sellers here. These are mostly sellers in this name. Okay, there's not a lot of buyers here, and every time buyers try to go in, like here for instance, where they try to buy the dip, all right, the buy the dip failed, and so they're pushed out. Meaning sellers are still have the conviction to want to sell this name lower and lower and lower. All right, and so I wouldn't be surprised if DD is back towards like maybe $5 here. This is also a Chinese name, Chinese company that is now listed on, I believe, Nasdaq. This is on Nasdaq. Oh no, New York Stock Exchange and NYSE. Okay. Oops. Let me go back to full screen here. So I would expect, if you have more selling here, obviously we had this nice pop because Chinese name had all Chinese names across the board were having nice pops due to good earnings and everything else. But Ken, I believe Ken just said Tillery next if possible. Of course. I think Tillery will be my last name here. But DD here, maybe this catches the eyes of Wall Street Bets. Let's say since Wall Street Bets is now a very formidable force in the market now. So, if DD it gets caught in Wall Street Bets' eyes, we can see a pump. But if I take them out of the picture completely, I would say DD will look attractive, a lot more attractive, below $7 here, potentially around $6.50 or even $5. Okay, and why do I say this? Well, because, just judging by the trend here, we're going to continue lower and lower and lower. Okay, but like I said, since we have a lot of power with retail traders now, thanks to Wall Street Bets and their shenanigans here. We can see a huge pump since Wall Street Bets has been focusing on Chinese names lately, especially Alibaba. Okay, I've been double layered now in Alibaba with 2022 and 2023 leaps. If you guys didn't know already, so I bought a lot in that huge dip where we went down all the way to 153ish, I think. I bought exactly at that dip, right at that low today, I think 2 days ago, on Monday, I think. Oops. Yeah, on Monday, right here. This is where I bought right here. Yeah, around 153. Okay. The low today was 152.80ish. So my position is still is up a nice percentage here. Okay. But DD here, I would expect a lot more downside move. Now, one thing, okay, I guess what's kind of surprising me is that we did break below this, above this descending resistance line here. I'll just put it like this for now. Okay, this won't really just signify. To me, this just means that we just have a nice oversold bounce, or at the very least a double bottom bounce at 7.15ish. Okay, but I still don't. I need to see a lot more action here for me to convince me that we're going to see a reversal, a continuation. Today it was not one of those days where we gapped down and then closed near low of the days here. However, we did close above the 10 SMA. Okay, but with the 10 SMA still kind of curving lower. And 21 SMA now acting as a rejection area here. I would expect another price movement downward. If not, I'm going to expect the price to kind of move sideways here. Okay? So that's it for DD. It has to hold above $7 here though. Okay? If you guys are bullish on this name for whatever reason. Okay. Tillery is my last name. So, Tillery, infamous name when an IPO that went to $300, if you guys remember. Alright. And if you guys are enjoying the stream right now, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. That really helps with everything to my channel, to this video, the YouTube algorithm, and everything else. So that I'll be really, really grateful, and I'm already grateful that you guys even attend this live this late into the night to kind of hear me speak about technical analysis and all these different names that you guys recommend to me. And so, I am already grateful for that. But if you guys are able to, just click that like button below. That'll be really great. Okay, so with Tillery, I've been seeing a lot of bullish call flow going to this name. And I don't know what the news is here, but seems like whatever news it is, it's probably lining up to this nice area of support where we've had that huge, big price movement up to like $70, right? Yeah. Oh, well, almost $70. And so, after this huge, big movement, we start to head low. We immediately flush downward. Okay, so we have a nice, tiny micro bubble pop. Okay, this is what we call a bubble pop. All right, and so now we're seeing a nice saucer base forming. Okay, so this is one of those new chart patterns that I've been seeing for a long time now on name like this that have been overhyped, and then that huge sell-off happens. So another bubble pop, right? I explained how this chart works as well. I call it a mountain or ramp actually, where we have this left side of the ramp is the initial pump, the middle is the peak, and the right side is the sell-off, right? And the right side of the ramp tends to be a lot longer as the price continues to roll downward and downward and downward and downward and downward. Eventually, retracing 100% of the left side of the ramp. Okay, so far it seems like it did. Okay, as we're upholding previous level of resistance where we broke out at around $12 here earlier this year. Okay, so for this whole year, most of this year, we've just been selling off and selling off and selling off. And so Tillery, what can happen here is that we can see this nice break. Okay, possibly up to $16 again. Okay, just with the amount of call buying that I'm seeing on this name, options wise, this is a lot of call buying here in volume. And whatever the reason may be, I'm just going to focus on technical analysis here, and I will say that a nice area to buy could have been today actually around 13 point, I would say 50ish here. Okay, but if we head lower again tomorrow, which I kind of expect. I would see a nice revisit back to even, let's say, $13 here. Okay, but if that doesn't happen and we continue to go up higher, I would say the next level to kind of buy in at will be around $14 here. Okay, so if you guys want to potentially get in before this nice pump that we can potentially have up to $16 to $17, that would be great. Okay. So that's it for Tillery. Like I said, I believe in my previous Instagram lives, I said that I don't think the federal level of legalizing marijuana and weed, both on recreational and medical level, is going to happen anytime soon. It's just something that I just foresee in the future. I don't think there's going to be an immediate or anytime soon actually. Even with a Democratic president, Democratic Congress, Democratic everything here, Democratic legislature, it's I just don't think weed is going to have its big moment anytime soon, and so for now we're just going to have to focus on what specific weed companies are doing, right? Especially Tillery, how they're doing revenue wise and growth, basically how much are they selling. Right, the weed and everything, and also these weed companies are also kind of basically real estate companies as well. So they're buying more properties to kind of, grow their own weed. I don't really know how that process works since I'm not, I don't really smoke. I don't smoke at all, and I don't do any drugs. But with that, Tillery just looks pretty good. I mean, if it breaks out the saucer base here, okay, or whatever what you might want to call this here, this ramp, this mountain, whatever it may be, All right, we just need to break above $14 in order to have that big pump upwards, back up to 17 or 16.50ish. Okay. All right, so it seems like there's only 3 people left here. So to the 3 people left, I really thank you guys for joining in all the way to the end here. It's however long this live may be, I really thank you guys for joining all the way through. And I really hope you guys have a good rest of your night and don't stay up too late, because I do. I have insomnia. But make sure you guys are refreshed and ready to hit the markets again tomorrow, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And make sure you guys live to trade another day. All right. So if you guys enjoyed this live, please give it a thumbs up. Link to the description below to see any of my and to look at any of my products and services. I try to do my best to provide as much value as possible. And if you guys want to learn more and try to dig deeper into how I do things, these programs are here for the premium CFO programs, the one-on-one mentorship, and the 4 weeks, and my weekly Sunday newsletter that I drop to my CFO Single Watch subscribers is still at $25. Okay, so I kind of ran a social experiment to see if anyone would check my links, and no one has DM'd me yet. And so that kind of tells me that there's not a lot of action takers these days. All right, I know all of my subscribers currently right now are great action takers, so I congratulate them for even being able to take action so quickly. But with that, Ken, thank you so much for staying and joining my live since day one. I know you have been. So thank you so much for that, man. I mean, I truly appreciate it. To everyone who's been on here on my lives, it's grateful to kind of have everyone kind of join in here with the conversation and during my lives, and I can't wait to see where these lives go. And eventually, I hope to start doing these lives, my YouTube lives during market hours as well. All right. So just wait for that announcement. I know some of you guys will be very glad to hear that and be a part of that as well. So if you guys have any friends or family or anyone who knows who wants to trade and don't know really what they're doing, or at the very least they can't find anything to trade, recommend them to CFO Swing Watch, because if you guys join with them together, you will also get a free month or free months depending on how many people you bring on, because one referral that you bring on to the CFO Swing Watch as you're subscribed as a subscriber equals 1 month free. All right. So make sure you guys don't forget that. So that is it for today. I'll see you guys all on Friday. Hopefully at an earlier time, around, I would say 7:30 to 7 Pacific Standard Time, which is 10 o'clock on the Eastern Standard Time. But yes, I will see you guys on Friday. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you all on Friday. And hopefully to my subscribers, I will see you guys on tomorrow. Okay? Happy trading. Good luck trading. And live to trade another day. Thank you all for joining.